Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user CapitalManager7070. Am I the a-hole for refusing to wear the wedding dress my sister-in-law gave to me as a wedding gift? I, 27 female, met my fiancé, Jacob, male 31, when I was 21. We've been together for 6 years and engaged for almost a year out of those. My mother's wedding dress has been passed down for generations, and I remember being a little girl dreaming of walking down the aisle in it. We have recently been wedding planning, and we were invited to a dinner hosted by my fiancé's family that was on Sunday. When we arrived, we greeted everyone and sat at the table to eat. Sister-in-law stood up and tapped her spoon against her glass and said that she had to make a toast. She then said she would be right back, going into another room and returning with a large plastic bag. Everyone seemed to be excited, but I just felt confused. I awkwardly smiled as I asked sister-in-law what was in the bag. She opened it up to reveal her wedding dress from her wedding, which was 2 years ago. Everyone began clapping as sister-in-law announced that this was her official wedding gift to us and she wanted me to wear her dress at our wedding. I tried to smile, but I guess I didn't do a good job of hiding my disappointment, and everyone began asking me what was wrong. I tried to explain how I wanted to wear my mother's dress and that it was nothing personal, but that I refused to wear my sister-in-law's dress. My sister-in-law began crying as my in-laws began tearing into me and comforting her. I just burst into tears and ran outside. My fiancé didn't even come after me, and after crying my eyes out on the steps for what felt like hours, he finally came outside and yelled at me to get into the car. I was so confused, but I got into the car just to hear him berate me on how I made such a big scene and embarrassed him in front of his family. He sounded so mad, and he even said he couldn't believe he chose to marry such a bitchy see you next Tuesday, his exact words. My fiancé also said how sister-in-law was just trying to be nice and that her dress was more modern compared to my mother's dress, which looked like an old rag, also his exact words. I tried to tell him how much my mother's wedding dress meant to me because I promised her that I would wear it. I felt like my fiancé's family planned this and put me on the spot, thinking I wouldn't stand up for myself and just agree to wear my sister-in-law's dress. I don't think I did anything wrong, but part of me thinks I should have just gone along with it and then told my sister-in-law in private that I wouldn't be wearing the dress. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you're not the a-hole. What a garbage family, starting with your fiancé and your narcissistic sister-in-law. Honestly, if I would have been in your fiancé's shoes and my sister pulled some stupid crap like that, my wife wouldn't have even had the chance to awkwardly smile because I would have probably started laughing, asking my sister if she hit her head when she fell off her giant ego. My wife gets to choose her dress, not her, and that's it. And now let's get to the part that opens the debate about returning the ring or not, the bitchy see you next Tuesday part. There is no place in a healthy relationship for that type of disrespect, and I don't care how frustrated you are that your family tore you a new one because your wife doesn't want to wear your self-important sister's wedding dress. Respect is a two-way street must, and if you lose it, it's a slippery slope into a toxic relationship. So again, OP, no, you're not the a-hole. You should return the ring because this can't get any better. There's no coming back from it. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Fluffy Funhouse says, whoa, not the a-hole. OP, I'm going to leave you with the best dating advice I have ever been given. So, in the wise words of my Uncle Mike, if a man is ever mean to you, and I mean truly mean to you while you are dating, you need to run. Because while dating, this is the nicest he is ever going to be. The reason is he thinks he has already won you over. He doesn't have to act nice anymore. The mask can come off because you are already caught. Don't let any person call you names like that. You deserve better. Pale Needlework 924 says, not the a-hole. Your fiancé needs to have more respect for you as he probably knew you really were set on wearing your mother's dress. He should have been there for you and defended you, and when he didn't, it clearly shows what kind of person he is. And OP responds, "Thank you. I think I really needed to hear this. It's just so reassuring to know because I really felt like I was in the wrong for the past few days." And Bonham42 says, "Lovely, please get away from these people. As much as this situation sucks, view it as a gift. Your sister-in-law finally made your in-laws and your fiancé show their true colors. This is not a person or family you want to be married into. A wedding dress is very special because it's meant to symbolize the person wearing it. If your dream is to wear your mother's dress, that's what you should be wearing. I kinda can't help but wondering if this was a sabotage by your sister-in-law. She should know how special a wedding dress is and should have spoken to you first before announcing she would be gifting you her wedding dress." So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and they are raising the red flags that are all around this post, saying that she shouldn't marry into this family. So now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. Hi everyone, I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone in the comments supporting me and all the private messages reaching out. I haven't gotten to all of them, but I'll try to whenever I can. I really didn't expect so many people to see my post, but I just want to make it clear how grateful I am. I know a majority of you told me to leave him and took some time to think about it, but I know I can't leave him without a proper conversation. At the end of the day, I spent 6 years with this man, and this behavior was honestly out of the ordinary. I agree with a lot of the comments saying that his family was influencing him because he used to be so caring and kind, but ever since the wedding planning began, he changed. Since the dinner on Sunday, he hasn't been talking to me at all and always leaves the room whenever I come in. His honestly immature behavior and all of your comments have made me rethink my whole relationship. I did end up making him sit down with me a few hours ago to talk about things and have an adult conversation. He was very dismissive and was just scrolling on his phone for a majority of the time. I tried to explain how I felt put on the spot at the dinner and how his reaction and the fact he didn't come after me or comfort me post the dinner was so hurtful and disrespectful. All he had to say in response was that I was being selfish and that my sister-in-law was trying to help and I had just embarrassed her in front of everyone. The conversation honestly went nowhere and I felt really crappy and lost. Around an hour ago, he came up to me and apologized, saying that he was sorry and that he understood how I was feeling. I asked what we would do about the dress, and he told me that he had talked to sister-in-law and she had agreed to let me wear my mother's dress during the reception, but I would wear her dress during the main ceremony. I admit I kind of lost it because he said it as if I need permission to wear my wedding dress on my wedding day. I haven't felt so disrespected in my life. I've just been sitting inside our bedroom and I'm pretty sure things are over after this. OP's edit. I will admit my mother's dress is slightly old-fashioned, but I had talked to him before we got engaged about how it was my dream to wear it, which he had no problems with. The fact that he didn't respect how sentimental it was to me is what hurt. Also, during our second conversation, he kept bringing up how his family was paying for a majority of the wedding, which yes, they were paying about 75% of it, but I tried to remind him that it was my wedding too. OP's edit 2. Yes, I am leaving him for sure now. I really don't appreciate the comments calling me bad names for staying. I never intended to stay, and the only reason I thought we needed a conversation was because this behavior was recent and I wanted to understand what was going on. I haven't told him that it's over officially, though it should be obvious, yet mainly because I'm scared he might do something violent, as many comments said. I need a few days to figure out things, and I'm gonna tell my brother to pick me up so I can stay there for a few days. I'm logging off for now. Well, P, at least now you know what you have to do and you're not asking yourself any more questions whether you need to have conversations or stay in the relationship or not. You're leaving, so I would say just grab your important documents and stuff and leave when he's at work. Anything else that's not vital or important, you can go get later or ask your brother if he can get it for you or accompany you to go get it. But again, the silver lining here is that you are done with this thing and you're going to move on. So on that note, OP, here's wishing you the best in the future. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Throwaway Ekus. Am I the a-hole for telling my niece it's her fault that my horse kicked her? I, 27 female, have a niece, 14 female, who is my older brother's, 36 male, and his wife's, 34 female, daughter. She's a very sweet girl and she loves my horses and the other horses I board, which are my friend. My brother and his wife live in the city, while I live in my uncle's ranch on my mother's side in a different state. My brother and I have different moms, but same dad. They sent my niece to come stay with me for a few months, which I greatly accepted. She's been good and she calls her friends back at her home state and FaceTimes her parents once in a while. She's a great help with feeding my animals and my horses. The only problem is she doesn't know how to ride horses and sometimes teases the horses. I have two very young horses, a filly and a colt, which are very excited horses, and I don't really allow her in the field with them as they like to kick and buck when people are around. And I also have an old stallion, which was my first horse my uncle got me. His name is Rooster and he is 32 years old. That is my niece's favorite horse. She always wants to ride him, but I don't allow anyone to ride him and I don't ride him anymore. He's very patient and kind, but he doesn't like anyone touching his back legs and his tail when you walk behind him. He will kick, but when he knows you are there, he doesn't mind being touched back there as long as anyone approaches him in the front. Overall, he's a great horse. Anyway, my niece will tease him with a lunging whip by tickling his back legs and his tail, trying to get him to kick. I have told her numerous times and warned her not to do that. She still continues to do it behind my back. Well, I told her to go get Rooster out of the pasture and into his stall. She went to go get him and I heard a scream in the barn. I got over there and she was holding on to her leg crying in pain while Rooster ran back to the pastures. I asked her what happened and she said Rooster had kicked her left thigh and I asked her if she touched him on the back legs or his tail. She said she pushed him on his tail to get him in his stall and that's when he kicked her and ran off. She started cursing about Rooster and doesn't want to be around him. I told her it's her fault. She provoked him and for not listening to me after so many warnings. I told her that bruise on her leg is a lesson now to be careful around bigger animals, especially ones that can kick at any moment. She could walk it off and she called her parents after. They called me and told me that it was my fault for not supervising her and that they're gonna get her home. I told them everything, but they won't listen, and my sister-in-law told me I need to get rid of Rooster. I told her no and hung up. Now I am wondering, am I the a-hole? No, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole. You had told your niece numerous times not to tease him, not to get near his back legs if he doesn't know you're back there, and horses kick. It's in their nature. Now, regarding you supervising your niece, putting him in the stall, if this is something that she has done before, you shouldn't have to do that. But if it was the first time she was doing it, maybe you could have been there to teach her how to do it. But I'm guessing that since your niece has visited you before, this isn't her first time taking Rooster from the field and putting him in his stall. So again, OP, no, I don't think you're the a-hole. I do think it's your niece's fault. And yeah, it sucks, of course, getting hit by a horse. It must hurt like hell. But actions have consequences. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Moose Live says, not the a-hole, she's 14, not 4. 14-year-old kids should not need constant supervision to ensure that they don't do something they were told not to do. Also, teasing an animal, especially an aging animal, is a crappy thing to do. Tell her parents that you would like them to fetch her and that you'll consider allowing her to visit again when she's mature enough not to sneak around behind your back and disobey your specific instructions. I have kids this age and they are absolutely old enough to know better. Judging a-holes says, not the a-hole. 14 is old enough to take directions and warnings. You have told her several times not to do what she did. She didn't listen and continued to do it anyway. Rooster gave her a lesson in why she should listen to warnings and directions. I mean, if you keep telling a kid not to touch a stove because it's hot and they don't listen and touch the stove and get burned, are you going to throw the stove out? To me, this is the logic of her mother. And Opie responds, I have warned her so many times and she always reassures me she wouldn't do it, but for some reason she would record teasing my horse Rooster. I even have friends who've seen her do it. Tell me not to have her around the horses no more. I thought I could trust her, but now I do believe she needs to go home. And Silver Reserve 1482 says, you're the a-hole, but probably not for the reason you think I'm gonna say. Dude, you effed up by not calling your brother to tell him there was a problem with her teasing your horses in the first place. If she did it once, you talked to her, and she never did it again, that's one thing. But you knew she continues to do it behind your back. You should have immediately called her parents, and I would have even FaceTimed them with my niece present so nobody can say they got mixed messages. Lay it out for them. She did a thing that's dangerous. You asked her to stop. She continues to do it. Inform both her parents with her present that if she continues to do it, she will most likely get kicked, and if a horse kicks her in the head, she'll probably get effing killed. You don't mention having kids yourself, so I'm assuming you don't, and this could have been a blind spot for you as far as life and safety goes. But I also think this is kind of common sense. That horse could have killed your niece. This is a big F up on your part, and I think you owe her parents, not her, an apology for not contacting them immediately upon discovering she was repeatedly putting herself at risk. Additional information from OP's comments. My brother knows. He's knowledgeable about horses, as he has also been kicked by Rooster. And no, she grew up in the city, so did my brother because he lived with his mom. My sister-in-law doesn't like to go out to the barn or the fields when she visits my home. She just stays in the house and really doesn't like horses or any other farm animals. So yes, of course she blames Rooster. The only animals she grew up with are cats because that's the only animal she likes. Lol. And no, my niece is not a devil spawn. She's a very nice girl and loves animals. Still, I am sending her back home and hope she learned her lesson not to mess around with bigger animals and to respect them and their space. I mean, she was doing great the 2 months before she started teasing Rooster, which I feel were her friends maybe influencing her a bit because she FaceTimes them and I have heard a few of their conversations, like pouring the horse's water out or spraying my chickens. I should have intervened much more sooner, so I take that blame. Alright, so the community is divided. Some say OP was not the a-hole and this is just the consequences of the actions that Denise had done. And some people say that OP was the a-hole for not intervening sooner and sending her niece home. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. My niece made it back home safely and has calmed down about the whole situation, and so has my sister-in-law. My brother said he will be taking my niece's phone and stay home more, as she used to go over to a few of her friends' houses and stay for a few days. She did call me after she got home and has said she misses Rooster and she was sorry about the whole situation that she put her and Rooster in. She said she would love to come back when she gets better. I did tell her I can't trust her around my horses and it will take a long time to gain that trust again. I told her if she does come back to my ranch, I can ask my friends to help me more around the ranch so I can teach her how to ride horses and maybe get her own horse. If only I supervise her very strictly. But at the moment, she cannot come back for a little while. She did cry a little bit but accepted it and was grateful and promised to do better and hung up. My sister-in-law did apologize for what she said and being upset with me. I did forgive her as we do get along greatly. She was just very worried about her daughter. My brother wasn't mad at me and knew I tried my best and wasn't mad about what Rooster did. He said it most likely was a wake-up call for my niece, and I will be visiting her and flying over to the city and spending time with her for a bit during Christmas. I will make sure to spend every day with her and make her happy, as she is the closest thing to me ever having a kid. Want her to have the best outcome. Well, Opie, it's good to know that your niece is doing better, she understood what happened, and she wants to improve. And also, it's a good thing that you and your sister-in-law are back on good terms. So on that note, here's wishing you all the best in the future. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a quick mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user LaTommy's Fan. Want the electricians to camp out in your area? Be careful what you wish for. I worked at a major consumer products manufacturer as a maintenance electrician. We handled electrical repairs and troubleshooting for the whole factory. The front-end department started having production problems and the plant manager was not happy. Now, the front end was very dirty and noisy, so we as electricians didn't want to spend a lot of time there, but we took our responsibilities seriously and worked quickly to address electrical problems. Well, the front-end supervisor decided that the electricians were the problem and requested an electrician be stationed there 24/7, when the real problem was the lack of mechanical maintenance on the machines and poor repairs by the mechanics. Our boss was absolutely no help and he agreed with the request. Now on to the malicious compliance. We decided to embrace the assignment with a twist. Since we were required to spend our 12-hour shift on the front end, we started a log. We documented every mechanical problem on every machine and brought that log to every production meeting. Pretty soon, the production supervisors were getting called on the carpet about the mechanical problems, and then they decided that they didn't need electricians stationed in the front end. Wouldn't you know it, OP? I guess it wasn't so much of an electrical problem. Thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.